The Broadcast Organization of Nigeria, as well as the International Press Institutes, have condemned the order by the Zamfara state government for the closure of some media organizations operating in the state for allegedly breaking journalism laws. Well, the affected media houses include Radio Nigeria, Pride FM in Gusau, the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA Gusau, Gamji Television, Vision FM, and Al Umma Television. Reacting to the development, both agencies argue that the Zamfara state government does not have the power to shut down media houses, adding that the move is a violation of the fundamental rights of freedom of expression, which is guaranteed by the Constitution of Nigeria. They are demanding for the immediate withdrawal of all directives impeding on the freedom of expression in Zamfara state. And the civil rights organization International Society for Social Justice and Human Rights in Port Harcourt, the River State capital, is appealing to the government not to revoke the certificate of occupancy of Daar Communications, the owners of AIT in Port Harcourt. The rights organization frowned at the decision of the State House of Assembly reversing the ownership of 868 plots of land occupied by Daar Communications. Chancellor of the International Society for Justice and Human Rights, Omenazu Jackson, at a press briefing in Port Harcourt, says findings reveal that the River State government lawfully ceded the land to Daar Communications.
We call on River State government, River State House Assembly, to deploy ADR in issues concerning Daar Communication. The scenario in which and the push and the force which Daar Communication is facing now may eventually force the organization out of River State. And they have economic loss. So the interest of the current political interest will not overshadow the overall interest of the entire state, mostly economic-wide. Must we join politics on economic matters that affects the state? That property, from our own investigation, was lawfully ceded to Daar Communications in 2001. Secondly, there's a valid agreement between River State government and Daar Communications.
This is a mere political disagreement. Tomorrow you will agree again. What's wrong with that? So for me, please, we are appealing to the River State government. Don't let, because what this will lead to now may lead to litigations, and from the litigations or Daar Communication will leave River State or something. I don't know. Because from what I heard, if I remember, they said that they have revoked the land, that they should come and renegotiate. Please let them go and do that talking. By the time they do that talking, I think it will help every one of us.
Human rights lawyer Hoya King there. And for analysis, let's bring in a Rights News analyst, Abiodun Adeniyi, who joins me now in the studio. Abiodun, thank you so much for being here. And if you go by what some analysts are saying, they're saying freedom of expression might be under threat in Nigeria, looking at, the situation in River State, but particularly, the fact that the government of Zamfara State earlier in the week had actually sent out the notice, even to government-owned station. They say, you broke journalism rules, you should close up. Let's talk about that and help us make sense of it in terms of the powers a government has to shut down a broadcast station.
Amaka, I'm not sure there's much sense in that. It's just a reminder of what we used to have in the period of military, where there was high level of arbitrariness, where, actions can be taken on the freedom of the press, freedom of expression, just at the whims of the leader, and of course, this is a democracy. It's not a time where we expect those kind of actions. I don't know what influenced the governor or the government, in Zamfara State, but I also do not know what they mean by saying that the organizations infringe on journalism laws. How do they define journalism laws? What do they mean by journalism laws? And of course, there are actions to take if you think that one organization has contravened any law. The courts are there for you to resort to. But what we can be asking the organizations to do now, if political moves fail, if moral suasion fails, is for them to use the instrumentality of the courts. They should challenge the action of the state government through the courts. That's legitimate means, but in the first instance, we just have to call on the state government, to listen to sense of reason and rescind this decision, because it is something that is not acceptable in an atmosphere, in a government, where freedom is integral to. And of course, we do not want to be reminded of the dark days of military rule, where men were rather ruling rather than the instrument of law. Right,
and of course there are no indications that actually the Zamfara state government actually sought permission from, of course, the Nigerian Broadcasting Regulatory Agency, speaking about NBC. But if you look at this, separation of power is enshrined in our constitution. Well, the executive, which is the government, which is planning to do this, one wonders, even if rules were broken, we're just assuming hypothetically, the judiciary, isn't that supposed to be their role, really, to find...
Yeah, that's the point you
to
made.
Find the stations or carry out release a judgment.
Yeah, and that's the point I was also making earlier on, that the courts are there for you to resort to, not to assume the role of the court, because you are the prosecutor and you're also the judge in your own case.
So what is the implication for the civic space and the rule of law?
It means that the civic space is being is going to be shrunk. You want to shrink it further. You want to close it further, and the kind of government that we have now, or the kind of system of government that we have, which is democracy, is patently antithetical to that kind of shrinking. We want open expression of views, of opinion, because of course when you have ideas flowing, of course it can bring about development, because you are putting together thoughts of different people and you are sieving them appropriately, separating the wheat from the chaff. At the end of the day, you come out with those ones that are qualitative, and of course to propel development. Do not forget that one essence of democracy is not just about the provision of infrastructures and maybe utility. It's also about happiness, integration of citizens, the boosting of self-esteem, the triggering of happiness, and of course a feeling of a sense of excitement. That's how citizens feel a sense of nationness, a sense of belonging, a sense of integration, and of course patriotism and nationalism can grow in the process, but when you are closing it, of course, you are likely to get the opposite result, But I want to believe that the Zamfara state government will listen to sense of reason and go back on this decision, because it's something that is not acceptable, it is not tenable. Whatever happens, should have been done, should have been redressed, should have been funded through engagement, and now that it has happened, it is not too late for them to vacate the premises of those organizations and let them come back to business, because it cannot stand the test of any time. Rather than resorting to the court, we are even saying that they shouldn't even waste the time of these organizations.
Honestly, because the NBC is there if any rules are broken.
There are different mechanisms, actually. It's not just about resort to court. There are professional organizations, statutory professional organizations that you can resort to. You can challenge these organizations on the basis of infringement or violation of their ethics. Why didn't you do this? Why, or did you not think about this before you just before you are using the gongo method of absolutely shutting them down?
Well, as it stands right now, both the Commissioner for Information in Zamfara State as well as the Governor's spokesperson, for now, they said it stands. But let's move along and talk a little bit.
Unfortunately.
Well, we'll see how far that can go. Let's talk about politics right now. Atiku Abubakar, the comments he made yesterday in Kaduna is still generating a lot of reactions. And of course, we're seeing mudslinging from both sides. But of course, this is part of the characteristics of politics. But talk to us about campaigns. Over close to 2 weeks now since they opened up. How would you look at the sphere? How would you...
I'm not sure Amaka, that the campaigns have actually started. It's not yet in full swing. Some of them are still putting their acts together, and the Labour Party is still preparing to do its own. They said 25th. APC is yet to start its own. They are trying to juggle things, to factor in a presidential schedule. Even PDP, that has formally launched its own in Uyo, they are also yet to get into full steam, because there's an interruption already. Maybe because from what we said, what we read in media report, although that has been denied, maybe because of the disagreement they are still having with the Governor Wike group. So we are still to see a campaign in full swing. And of course, this is also understandable because they have about 4 or 5 months, still to go. And it can be very dangerous burning out early enough because the campaigns can be very laborious, very cumbersome, and can be very, very expensive. So, and different things shape the opinions of voters as you go along. You may even start now and something else will crop up near the time of the election and tilt the opinion of the decision of voters to probably vote for you. So it's also good to be careful, to be calculative, because 4 or 5 months is a lot of time in politics. And I want to also sympathize with them because they are in their calculations, but it's something that we actually generally will look forward to because campaign seasons can be very exciting. You see different levels of creativity, all kinds of theatrics, all kinds of rhetorics, but what is more important is for them to be issue oriented, focus on the issues and prove to us that they are ready to solve our problems or to take the nation forward from where the president or the national government or the subnational government will have left it, as the case could be, Amaka.
Right, and of course, speaking about rhetorics, the People's Democratic Party, through its spokesperson, Debo Olugbagba, says it's undeterred by the exposed plot by certain undemocratic forces who are uncomfortable with the successes of ongoing reconciliation efforts, stability, and even popularity of the party, and plans to disrupt its rally scheduled for Kaduna State tomorrow. Yeah,
we have sweet talks all over the place. You do not expect anything less from politicians. They'll play up their own part. And of course, you see elements of propaganda in some of their pronouncements as well. This can be very legitimate. These are appropriate, and that's why they are there in the first instance. Politicians are meant to blow their own trumpet. If you do not blow your trumpet, like Professor Jerry Canal said, at one point, your opponent will take the trumpets and break it rather than blowing it for you. So it's expected that they'll continue to blow their trumpets, and that's why oftentimes you see tension, you see clashes here and there. Verbal clashes, better, which is fantastic. It's okay if it's just a question of joining issues with each other, exchanging, cross-fertilizing ideas, engaging in debates. These are healthy process of democracy.
Right.
But what we do not want is violence.
Right,
that's
of course.
what we should continue to preach against.
No life, in the words of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, he said, no life is worth that of any politician,
absolutely.
really. We will pray it's that way in this campaign season. We'll have to say thank you so much, Abiodun Adeniyi, a Rice News analyst and, of course, a communication expert there.